crazy. I remember when I got told I got the all clear, food tasted better that day. Like the views looked better that day. Like everything was, I described it as like, walking into Disney, like it was like you become like a Disney character, and everything's bright colored and everything's sounds nice and the music's good and the food's tasty and everything was just like really nice in that regard. So there's positives and negatives to everything. So that's the positive, is that you appreciate everything a lot more. But the negative is like, yeah, I think it can make you feel really lonely. And it can make you feel just quite insecure, anxious. Fucking that never goes.
I'd like to begin by asking, what do you think is the one thing people need to be most aware of when they think about breast cancer?
See, it's an interesting. I think I find it interestingly. So I think because I was a man who had it, and I think that's been the kind of most eye-opening part. Is I get the same reaction every single time I tell someone that I had breast cancer. Really, what men get breast cancer? And it makes me laugh, because it's like, oh yeah, obviously, like I completely understand how it's not as common and things like that. And I think that's what made me aware of the fact that even if I think people did have breast cancer, or men had breast cancer, I feel like a lot of them would keep it even more quiet than any other form of cancer, just because ego, stereotypes, things like that. You think, oh well, men don't get it. Like that doesn't make sense. So I think one of the most eye-opening parts since it all, and is just since I've been talking about it quite openly, is just people's unawareness that men get it too. A lot of people don't understand the psychological side of everything. I think people see, or you tell people you've got cancer, and the first question they ask, is it all gone now? Which is obviously the lovely question, because they're concerned about your well-being and your health. But then that's as soon as you say, yeah, I'm all clear now, that's the end of that then. And then that's kind of the end of the conversation. And the reality is it's very far from over. Like it goes on for years. I'm just over 2 years now since I got the all clear, and I still think about it daily. I still talk about it. I still have conversations with myself in my head about it all. And I still regret things that I did.
Okay, so let's talk about family. You have quite a unique story, if you're happy to share that with us, about how being diagnosed with breast cancer impacted your family life. Are you happy to talk to us about that?
Absolutely, yeah. When I was originally diagnosed, I didn't know what to do with myself. Found myself quite lost and a bit confused. And as I say, everything I'd said previously, but not wanting to tell people, breast cancer and things like that. I found myself caught in that bubble, and I live quite a stereotypical male life. Like I play rugby on the weekend. I hang out with pretty much all boys. Like, so I've never really had that kind of nice female friend that I could talk to and open up to. And I didn't want to go to my family at first. I didn't want to go to anyone, because my granddad had passed away from cancer, not breast cancer, but still cancer. And my brother's wedding was coming up in a few months' time, and everyone was just like so happy. Everyone was in this incredible excitement bubble of, we went suit shopping, we went out for nice lunches, and all these incredible days and excitement, and talking about stag do's and things like that. And I didn't want everyone to focus on me, because it was partly because in all honesty, I couldn't be asked the question. Didn't really want to, like, oh, so how you feeling? How you doing? Things like that. Which I know it all means well, and I know it's all done with love. But after a while, sometimes you think, shut up, like just, I'm not dead. I'm still here. Like, let's just enjoy life, sort of thing. And also, I'm very close to my brother, and I was so excited for him and for this day, and I just didn't want people even talking about it then, like, or even having the conversations of, is Max all right, and things like that. I just wanted everyone to talk about Bill, my brother, and to talk about, the wedding and the family and how great the day was. So I kept it quiet for, I think it was 2 months in total. Funny, there's a picture I look back at now, and I laugh because I know I had it, and I was about a month and a half in, and I don't know what was making me lose weight. I don't know if it was the stress of it all or things like that, but I was very, very gaunt looking, like very, very gaunt. And I remember my mum asking, it's so funny how they know. I remember my mum texting me after I'd sent this picture, because I was with my dad that day. So I'd sent a picture into the family chat to be, here we are sort of thing. And I remember my mum asking me, am I okay then? Obviously, she had no idea, I think, to what extent she was asking that question. But she was asking me, am I okay then? Yeah, typical mother, are you eating enough? Blah, 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 like, and yeah, but then I just didn't want to say anything yet. The wedding was, I think, like 2 weeks away at the time or something. It was so close, and I'd had it planned in my head. I was going to tell them after the wedding, and it was all scheduled then, and I kind of had everything planned. So I was like, right, just stick with it, like even. And so yeah, so I didn't tell them, and then eventually after the wedding, I remember I texted my mum and I was like, "You with dad?" And I didn't want to have the conversation twice. And I called them and I told them. It was the best thing I've ever done. I wanted someone just to have faith in me and just to be like, "Have you got it? And if you don't, we're here. And if you do, we'll trust you." I said at the start about there's regrets that I have. I I understand. I get my logic as to why I didn't tell them, but it was the most selfish fucking thing I've ever done in my entire life. It really was. And I know it doesn't seem like it actually seems like I'm being selfless. It seems like I'm being nice, and that was how I justified it in my head, was, no, this is for them. I'm doing this for them. If my brother had cancer and he didn't tell me, I would kill him. I would kill him for the cancer does. I would lose my head if any of them were ever ill and they didn't let me in. And I didn't think like that at the time. I was kind of so caught up in I justified it in my head. I built this. This is it. This is the way it is. This is the best thing. And it was just so stupid, like, because, as I say, if it was the other way around, and I think that was what my mum said to me. Because obviously she loves me, but she was like, "Don't you ever do this again?" Because as I say, if it was the other way around, I'd go mental. And it was, yeah. As soon as I told them, I was, mate, the weight off my shoulders was. I've never breathed so much. I remember, because I weren't sleeping. I was sleeping terribly because I was stressed as fuck. And then that night, I think I had like 14 hours sleep. Was mental. Like, I just got blacked out because I was like, God, I can finally relax now. I can breathe. Yeah, it was crazy. I love talking to other people about their emotions, and I love helping them throughout their emotions and being there for them and being that person. I feel like I've put myself in this position now where I can't talk about mine, because I'm that person who people go to when something's wrong, and I help, and and things like that. I almost like this Mr. Reliable, like everything's fun, everything's pleasant, everything's joyous. And Max don't get down, and it's like yeah. I'm so shit about talking about my own emotions. Yeah, it's funny.
My next question was going to be about relationships, if that's all right.
I remember when I told her, and she went really distant. And at first I thought, is it because she, it's scary? Because it is scary, like, I understand that. And, I know there was going to be a few months of, I was going to be tired, I was going to be stressed, I was probably going to be quite snappy, like, like, and I get that, but I understand that. But yeah, she pretty much run a mile. I mean, a month later we ended it, because it was just, I knew that was what my reality was going to be for a bit. And she didn't like that reality, and unfortunately, it was nothing. There was no magic wand I could do to get rid of it. I wish there was, but yeah, there wasn't. So that was just what it was. So it was just, it was a very uncomfortable conversation, and it was a very uncomfortable month afterwards. And I mean, it's a blessing and a curse, because it made me, I guess it's a good thing to learn that is how that person will react. Like, oh, that is where you're at. It was early in the relationship too, so I've got no hard feelings. But this is where it does make it hard for people, though, is because, like, if you tell someone and that's how they react, well, I don't want to tell people then, like, and she was actually, I think she might have been the first person I did tell, because I had to go in and have this, like, the little snippet and things like that. So, and I think because that was the first one, I was a bit like, oh, I'm not doing this again, like, because and I know, again, stupid of me. Obviously, not everyone's going to react the same. Obviously, certain people care about you more than others and things like that, or people react differently. These things are all seem obvious in hindsight, but if you've done it once and the reaction was terrible, you're not going to do it. It's like putting your hand on a stove. Like, you get burned, you're not going to go back to another stove and go, maybe this one will work. And also, if you're going for emotional support like breast cancer, a group of rugby boys is probably the last people on earth you'd expect to like, be those people. and they all reacted. They were fantastic. That they all messaged me separately. They all, like they've spoke about it when I was in a pub. Again, the right amount, not like sob story or anything like that. Like, don't get me wrong, plenty of jokes flying my way, but that was what I wanted. That was like what helped me, and I remember, and that was when I was a bit like, right, well, talking about it's not the end of the world, and it's not, no one's gonna die, not everyone's gonna leave and run off, I learned to take less responsibility for it all, because it wasn't my fault. None of it was my fault. I didn't fucking want it, and and I think that was one of the things I learned, is that I was trying to take it on myself, because I felt like it was my cancer. It was I'm the one who's got it. It's not everyone else. It's not, their life doesn't have to change just because you've got it. And fuck it, that's bullshit. It's not like, I didn't want it. I didn't pick it. No one wants it. And so it's, you shouldn't have to wear it on your shoulders, as in, like, it was never your choice. It is your responsibility to deal with it and to take action, but it's not your fault that you're there. And I think that's the thing you need to just let go of, and just accept that, like, look, it's this is it now.
So Max, can you tell me about work? What was work like for you when you were diagnosed and while you were going through your treatment? How did it all impact you at work?
So same as everyone else, I didn't say anything for a bit. Again, I didn't want special treatment. I didn't want to, kind of be handed a sympathy card. I work in sales, which is obviously an incredibly stressful job at times, so. But in all honesty, I quite liked it, because it gave me something to think about and to dive into, and not have to think about what's going on in your head or your body. Like, it was a nice kind of escape. It wasn't knackering though, because obviously your body's fighting something, your mind is fighting all the thoughts and things like that, and then on top of that, then you're having to, high energy role where you've got to be the entertainer and things. It was quite tough. So I didn't say anything for a little while, but then I noticed it was impacting my work, just because I was, as I say, I do it. My job is you've got to entertain while you're on the call and get to know people, and high energy, and get people excited about something. And it's quite hard to get people excited about something when you're running on 3 hours sleep, 2.5 hours sleep. Your body's skin and bones by this point, because you're not eating properly, and so your adrenaline is just constantly pumping. Your body's fighting off everything that it possibly can, and so it was tough. So I think eventually I did tell work. I worked at a fantastic company, and they were very supportive. They asked me, what do I want to do, first of all, as in, like, do I want time off? Do I want to, anything like that? And I said no, because obviously I say it was a good distraction, and also I didn't, my pride, I didn't want it to affect something else, like, it fucked up my relationship. It made me awkward around my family for like a month or two. I was like, I can't do this as well, like, I'm not letting me do a full sweep of everything that I enjoy. So I was like, no, I'll carry on. But they were very understanding, very supportive. But again, I didn't say anything for a while, and I probably should have said something sooner, because as I was just, you worry, don't you, of like, oh, they're going to be, well, if he can't do his job properly, well, why do we have him? Like, so you question yourself a lot while you're ill, and you worry that you're not good enough for everything that you've built now, or that everything that you're doing. And I think, so again, this is where it's just an ego thing, like, where, realistically, if I'd have just said, this is what it is, I'm fine, like, as in, I'm okay to do X, Y, Z, maybe not so much of this. I should have just set those parameters earlier, instead of trying to put on the, clown makeup and be like, no, everything's good, let's crack on, sort of thing. It's stubbornness of just, I didn't want it to, as I say, ruin something else. I felt like it was ruining a lot of things. And I was just sick of it ruining things. It was really irritating. But then also you're worried about death the whole time, which I know it's not something. It's not a nice thought. I mean, very unlikely with breast cancer, but there is still a chance, like, you don't know what's going on, and no matter what people tell you, because if you tell people, oh, no, there's a 5% chance of death or something like that, everyone goes, oh, 5%, that's all right, like, that's, you'll be fine. even if it's fucking 0.0001, you know, it's terrifying. You know, like if you're that person who gets told there's like even the slimmest chance on earth.
What is your emotional well-being like now, and how has it been impacted by your diagnosis?
I never used to, never ever used to speak about feelings, and like I mean, you see, I cry now when I talk about emotions. That was terrible back then. You know, I'd either just get wound up and walk away just because that's not how I deal with it. So that's been good. Is that I feel like I can talk more about it. And the problem is, I feel like I'm more self-aware now, which sounds like a great thing. It's like, wow, that's brilliant. It isn't, because now I know when I'm feeling sad, and you know, like before, I kind of would brush it under the carpet and or move on from it, which I know is not a long-term healthy way of dealing with things, but short term I felt better. Whereas now I don't know, I feel a bit quite scared quite a lot of the time. And although I had that fantastic experience afterwards of sharing everything with people and feeling their love and their support, I still feel really lonely at times, because I'd had that emotion so intensely for a short period of time, for a couple of months, that I don't think I'll ever fully shake it now, which is really shit, because it's not it's not a nice feeling, but you do feel quite alone at times, and yeah, so then I don't, yeah, fuck, I wish I was better at it. Yeah, but yeah, I feel lonely at times. I think now you appreciate life a lot more after it's happened, which is fantastic. You know, like that's the best silver lining of the whole thing, is that you love life a lot more. But it also does make you feel like you should do more, because it's like, fucking, you can see how quickly it can go. You know, like, so why am I sat here stressing over little things about work or things like that? You know, like, or having an argument with someone and letting it play on my mind and things like that, because I realistically, none of it matters. Like, it's always pretty much all of life is bullshit. You know, it's meaningless. You know, like do you know what? There's 8 billion people on the planet. We live in that's just our planet we know about. Nothing we really do, unless you're some sort of super freak scientist or something like that, is realistically gonna change too much of the world. You can make a little bit of better improvements and things like that, but then like, so it's that's the good thing of this all. You take a bit of pressure off yourself, because you think, well, who cares? You know, like why does, like, none of it really matters. You know, like none of this is that important. I remember when I got told I got the all clear, food tasted better that day. Like the views looked better that day. Like everything was. I described it as like, walking into Disney. You know, like it was like you become like a Disney character. You know, and everything's bright coloured and everything's sounds nice and the music's good and the food's tasty and everything was just like really nice in that regard. So there's positives and negatives to everything. So that's the positive, is that you appreciate everything a lot more. But the negative is that, yeah, I think it can make you feel really lonely, and it can make you feel just quite insecure, anxious. Fucking that never goes. Maybe I'm just an overthinker, but you're always thinking, oh, if it comes back, what if this happens? You know, what if someone I know gets it? Because I know what it's like now, and it's not good. You know, like, and and you have all these thoughts and fears, and it's just it activates a part of your brain that you hope would never experience it. You know, like, or be activated. So it's good because it gets you thinking, and there's nothing wrong with thinking and activate, and activating on those thoughts and doing something about it. But there is also, it's still quite sad, because you shouldn't have to think about that. Not at fucking 25. That's bullshit. It's just not fair. One of the things that annoys me the most as well with breast cancer, I don't think people take it seriously. I think because it's breast cancer, everyone thinks that it's just like, oh, it's fine, just cut it off, like, or things like that, or like, or just get rid of it. And I think everyone just almost sees it as like a bit of a jokey one, like, as in like, and I feel like saying, how dumb are you? Do you think there's a jokey form of cancer? Like, it doesn't matter where it is or how big it is or how it infects, it still is that thing. And obviously there are worse versions. I'm not saying that they're all like directly on par, but they all still affect people in the same way. Whether it is, well, no matter what it is or where it is. And that's something that irritates me. If I say sometimes if I talk and I say breast cancer, oh, right, it's not too bad. What do you mean not too bad? Like, what have you had it? Did you experience it? Did you go through all that? Like, no, you haven't. So shut up. Like that really, I think that's something, and that bugs me with people, He's like, people just don't take it seriously. It's like, oh, it's only breast, still cancer. Like, it doesn't matter what it, oh, that, and yeah, and that irritates me. And I feel like there should be more afterwards. It's not like it's just they were brilliant. The NHS were fantastic throughout the whole thing. I've sing their praises every single time I talk about it. They were incredible, supportive, helped me out. Literally, say fixed me, like made everything good. They were absolutely brilliant. But then as soon as I had that conversation about the all clear, I think I had one more call after that, or one little checkup after. And then and I get it, they're super busy, like, and I get, I understand all that, but like you do, and this is where that loneliness, I think, sometimes steps in, is because you have this support the whole way through, and you have this support from everyone, your friends, your family, and all these different things. As soon as you get the all clear, everyone stops that, because I think they just think, oh, he's fine now, he's gone. And it's like, and then that's, I think, another thing where the loneliness comes from, because it's like you've gone from having all this fantastic support and love and care to then nothing, and because it's such an intense experience, the whole entire thing, and then it just stops. And